Hey, what's up? This is Brandon. I'm the lead writer at Upflip, and today I want to talk about how to analyze franchises. First, I want to start off with explaining what a franchise is. A franchise is a business with three main characteristics. One, the business name is being used by multiple business owners. Two, the franchisor provides the systems that the other businesses, the franchisees, use. And three, the franchisees are paying a franchisor for the rights to use the business name and systems. So the franchises have to provide a document called the franchise disclosure document, which you will see a lot of times abbreviated as FDD. It's a document that has 23 sections. In the sections, it has a franchisor, its parents, predecessors, and affiliates, a business experience section, litigation, bankruptcy, initial fees, other fees, estimated initial investment, restrictions on sources or products and services, franchisees' obligations, franchising, franchisor assistance, advertising, computer systems and training, territory, trademarks, other intellectual property, obligations to participate in the business, restrictions on what franchisee may sell, renewal, termination, transfer, and dispute resolution, public figures, financial performance representations, outlets, and franchisee information, financial statements, contracts, and receipts. When you are considering buying a franchise, you need to read this whole document. It's going to be hundreds of pages, but you really need to review it really well, preferably with an attorney. For the purpose of this video, though, I'm explaining how to consider them for VAs that work for businesses and are trying to help people find good franchises. So there are a few sections that I really like, and I have some franchise disclosure documents open. I'm going to open them for you. These are all fitness franchises I'm looking at. So the first page will tell you the total investment necessary, and how much of that goes to the franchisor or its affiliates. So if you push Control F and then do item 19, you will be able to see the financial performance representations. Where you go? Okay. So it explains some background information about it, about information provided in this. In this one, it shows the company-owned ones first. There's 3 locations, total gross sales, average gross sales, high location, lowest location, median location. Okay, so it shows all this information. All this looks good. All this looks all right too. Now I go down here, and then I see for the franchisee ones, the highest location is making a ton of money. The lowest location is making $0. That's no revenue whatsoever. And they just paid, how much was it? $65,000 minimum for this? So that's the loss of $65,000 right there. Median locations making a loss of 20. So just simple addition and subtraction, you can tell that the Ouch. Um, so, and it shows these numbers there too. So there's a huge discrepancy there between what the corporate location and what the franchise locations do. Now, that can mean a couple things. One, the franchisees aren't doing what they're supposed to do. It could also mean that the franchisor, its system's not very good, and therefore its results can't be duplicated very well. This in and of itself is not a horrible problem, but you do have to watch out for discrepancies. And I mean, these are big discrepancies. These aren't. This is a difference between 10 times. Then I go down further and I look at item number 20. And it shows the number of franchise and company owned outlets. And then it shows the transfers by year. And then it shows the status of franchised outlets for 2021, 2022, and 2023. Each year, these numbers will be updated, but it gives you an idea of the history. And this is item number 20 we're looking at now. So when you look at it, it shows outlets that started a year, outlets open, terminations, non-renewals, required, ceased operations, and then outlets at the end of the year. So if you go all the way down to the bottom, if you look at this, you had 28 close in 2021, 13 in 2022, and 4 in 2023. That's some pretty high closure rates. I mean, we're talking about nearly 30% closures. And to me, that's concerning. So between the two, it's saying that the franchisees aren't actually seeing the value you'd like them to see. Now, if instead there's a number like that and terminations or non-renewals, that would also indicate that there's some problem there. So now then, when I look at the revenues being low, there's no profit representations, and then there's the closure rates. So all of those combined give me a lot of concern. So now I want to show you another franchise disclosure document. This one has the initial investments and the amount paid to the franchisor. Then we go to item 19 again. And it provides the detailed information about how they do stuff. So then here it shows, as you can see, there's a lot more information. You can see how much the membership revenue is, and in all of these, the lowest number is 187,000 compared to 25,000, or zero actually. And then when you look at the actual revenue, which is this bolded line right here, it goes up to 230,000 as a high. So that's 10 times the revenue. It's a different business model, but $25,000 revenue is basically a minimum wage job, which isn't going to cut it when you're paying $65,000 for it. So it provides more information here. And then when you get down here, it actually gives you basically a net income statement that helps you see how much can we expect to make? Um, so revenues are typically going to be somewhere between 365K and 661K, but I mean it could be as high as 306 or as low as 306 or as high as 757K. So then it gives you what all the expenses are, the royalties, processing fees, utilities, insurance, etc. When you go down, it will show you margins as a percentage. So right there, we're seeing somewhere between 25 and 37% net operating income margins, which are pretty decent. That's what you'd like to see. That means on that $300,000, you're making a $90,000 income. Okay, cool. That's pretty good. Most people will be happy about that kind of an income. So then you go down to item number 20. You see the total outlets. As you can see, these numbers were pretty high. And you can see that there's some losses here. But when you're talking about 27 closures on 2,374 outlets, that's like 10%. It's not nearly, or no, that's 1%. That's not nearly as high. And when you go down, you scroll down to table 3 and you look at the end results for them. You can see there's not many that ceased operations. There were some non-renewals and there were some terminations. But once again, that's only like 3% right there. It's not very problematic, especially since there's much higher revenue and you have profit margins. So what you're really looking for is, are the profit margins good? Is the revenue good? And are there indications that franchisees aren't really feeling like they're getting a good value for their money? And you can tell that from the terminations, non-renewals, and ceased operations. So I have a couple more of these that I want to look at so you can get more examples. Control F, item 19. Because so one of the big things about looking at item 19 in franchise disclosure documents is while it's required to have it in it, it doesn't have to be the same in each one. For instance, this one it has an item 19 and it says we do not make any financial performance representations about franchise future financial performance or past financial performance. I view that as a red flag. If that's what they give me, I don't think I can trust them, because that means either one, they're a brand new business that doesn't feel comfortable that they've created good processes, or two, they have something to hide. And like any type of business, sometimes there's going to be bad actors. And so when there's no financial representations, I view that as too high of a risk of it being a bad actor. And I'm not going to suggest it to anybody. That doesn't mean that the company isn't a good company. It could be a phenomenal company and there's just too much variation in results, so they just don't want to disclose it. There could be some kind of a lawsuit that occurred where they take it out and don't provide it because they want to get that lawsuit settled before they provide anymore, so they know how to operate going forward. There's all kinds of reasons why they might not want to provide information. But if they don't want to provide information, I don't want to give them money. That's all there is to it. And I mean, I feel like that's a reasonable way to handle it. Is if they can't give me information, why would I want to pay them? So, then I go down here again. I look at the numbers for item 20, which is the terminations, non-renewals, and ceased operations. So good. Like this one's good from that standpoint, but it doesn't have any financial disclosures. So I'd reject that one. So right now I've rejected 2 out of the 3 we're going to look at. Then we're going to look at a fourth one, Control F, item 19. So item 19, once again, no financial representations, which means I'm going to reject it for that. Then I look at the totals, and you have in item 20, I look at the ceased operations, and I look at the terminations. Okay, it's on the higher end of what I'd like for each year, but not too bad. So if they had good financial representations, this one might pass. But really anything that's got more than 10% between column 5, column 6, and column 8, I'd reject. So basically you're looking for revenue, you're looking for profits, you're looking for similarities between the corporate owned locations and the franchise owned locations, and then you're looking for, are there indications that franchisees are not finding the franchisor to be beneficial to them? Because they have to pay the franchisor. I mean, when you look at it, they're paying them when you look at how much they're paying initial fees on this one, it's only $1,250. So cool. This one's pretty cheap. So I mean, this one's okay from that standpoint. But then you go down here, you have to give them 20% of your revenue. So you're paying 20% right off the bat out of every dollar. So they have to really be adding value. And if they can't prove that they're adding value in the franchise disclosure document, you know what? I rightfully cannot suggest that you go with the franchise, because it's going to be bad for them. Or it could be bad for them. And then if you're the one who suggested it, well, that's on you. So that's why when I'm looking at these franchises that we're evaluating, I want to be really careful with it. If there is anything at all that you see as questionable, walk away and find something else. All right? I hope that helps. Have a good day.